My name is Pastor Ramoyana Samuel Chizito. I am the Faith and Community Development Manager of Adra, which is under the Adra Faith Pathway. It has been a journey for me to work in this kind of service. Previously, before I worked with Adra, I've worked with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. At first, I worked as a church pastor, a district pastor, at least for three districts for 10 years. And then I came to work with the Uganda Union, which is the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. To address, I was called to go to Uganda Union to start the work of establishing HIV/AIDS programs. During that time, HIV was very rampant and our people were dying so badly with HIV. But apparently I had gotten a training and I had worked with some organizations that were working and helping people with HIV, like TASO, Amalgame, got some number of trainings as religious leaders. But I got full training in counseling with the TASO. So by that background, I was able to start programs for HIV in the Seventh-day Adventist Church at the national level, and we established the HIV/AIDS ministry. Then later on, I was given still another role to head the health department, which I led from 2010 up to this year, in February 1st, as the health director. And so from those services, I got so much involved in social work and dealing with the issues to do with supporting, showing compassion and love with the people. So with that background, I was called again to come and work with Adra, because in my work, I would relate with many organizations, but also with the other faiths under the Leading Church Council of Uganda. So Adra, I've worked now for almost 7 months in this position as the Faith and Community Development Manager in Adra, and which I find very pertinent and in line with what I've been doing and what I've been trained in as a pastor, but also a person who has been working with dealing with these social issues that affect people, and also which touch at the core work of Christianity, and also of people who love God, to show compassion, to show love. So I've liked the time so far I've spent here, and it is adding to my experience and my work working with Adra. Adra has a purpose, or which we would call a mission, which is to serve humanity so all may live as God intended. And so you see, it touches sincerely with the Christian values of serving humanity. And Adra is a church, a Seventh-day Adventist humanitarian organization, which is the Adventist Development and Relief Agency. So it is a religious organization, and I would say it is a ministry, it is a service, where the church is reaching people where the church would not be able to go and serve the people. Those in relief needs humanitarian services, and so I find the purpose of Adra very pertinent to the Christian calling. So that is the purpose of Adra. And you also, I found the motto, the motto of Adra, and also the values which are very pertinent with Christianity: justice, compassion, and love. So these are the values of Adra. And for instance, for the church, in terms of the SDA church, we say the Adra is church, and the church is Adra. Therefore, the faith, in terms of faith, Adra has 4 pathways, and we have the faith pathway, we have the programs pathway, we have the funds pathway, and also the people's pathway. But the faith pathway seems to be the bedrock, the core that binds all these others together to make sure that we serve, because our purpose is to serve humanity as God intended. Therefore, it is important, the issue of faith is very important to be highlighted so much. So under this department, which I am heading now as the Faith and Community Development Manager, our objective, Adra's objective is to build the capacity of the churches, the interfaith organizations, to independently manage outreach programs, at least by the year 2030, through training, joint programs, joint projects, community engagement, and to make sure that they can be able to sustain the impacts in the community. You know, churches do a lot of things. Churches do a lot of things in the community, and but sometimes they lack the capacity. Churches, not only churches, but faith, including Muslim and other faiths, they do a lot of things. And these institutions are very, very vital and important in the community in serving humanity, because they were there, they are there, and they will continue to exist. You'll find that even governments, which we have now, found these religious organizations in place. So they play a very critical and a pivotal role in terms of supporting and seeing that communities achieve what is intended, sorry, so that they can achieve what really God intended. And therefore, with that objective, we have a vision where we want to see the future, where faith-driven partnerships empower communities, strengthening resiliency, and creating lasting and sustainable impact. You know, communities, a future where faith is very, very paramount. Because there are two things which really bind people together. A culture, people are born into their culture, people are born in their religion. You see, especially in Africa, you find that when a child is born, immediately is given a name which indicates the clan, the tribe where that person comes from. But also, it's taken to church, is being prayed for. When it comes to baptism, when it comes to marriage, the two go together, religion, culture. Even at the point of death, the two come together. So it is important to involve religion, faith, in terms of community development, community empowerment, so that we can be able to change and make the people live as God intended. And as we are looking at that aim, we are aiming to see that there is an alignment, you know, faith-based aligned with our approaches in Uganda, in whatever we are doing, ensuring that whatever we are doing, the efforts of Adra remain rooted within the community. And in this department, or in this arm of the Adra strategy, we have a plan which is called the Adra strategy, which is from 2025 to 2030. This is strategy, and then, as I said, we have now the 4 ways which will enable us to reach the end that we want at 2030. And those 4 pathways, that's where we have the faith, the programs, the funds, and the people. We need these 4. And therefore, under the faith pathway, which I'm heading, again, we have 4 thematic areas that we are looking at. Number 1 is to have what we call the interfaith empowerment, as I have already hinted about it, to empower the faith within the communities, the SDA Church, but also other religions in the communities. You know, one of the things that religion is good, as I said, it's part and parcel of past people's lives, but sometimes the religions also have brought a kind of separations, and also sometimes even conflict within people in the communities, because sometimes we divide people according to our various religions. So Adra is an arm of the church there in the community to see how the various faiths can be able to work together to work together to address issues that pertain to them. You see, when we lose, a person dies in the community, you see people of various cultures and various faiths come together. They come together, they sit together. Even some people have groups in which they work together, which they have created on village levels. But these groups include people of various religious denominations, but they are trying to work together to address similar concerns. There could be about development, but there is this one which is very common, to support each other when someone has died. They call it here in Central, Mono Mokabi, So they have these groups. When someone has lost someone, they come together. I've been in Uganda Union where I've been working. I was working with one of our member staff. He was coming from East. But even when he is not there, you're supposed to be paying some dues. Is it monthly or annually? You are not there, but you pay some dues as a community member to support people when they die. So interfaith empowerment, to be able to work together, to serve humanity, so as they live as God. Then the second one is about collaboration, collaborating with still together to address the same thing, and then community engagement. We are there to address issues in the community. There could be spiritual, they could be social, they could be developmental. But sometimes we, still working as an NGO, sometimes we propose problems and solutions when the communities are not involved. So Adra is working in the community to empower faith-based institutions to be able, to have community engagement, such that we can foster collaboration, empowerment, and then be able to have the visibility and the growth of the faith, but also of Adra. And in our operations as Adra, in the various programs and projects that we have, we already working and integrating faith, working with the various religious organizations, faiths, to make sure that we work together to serve humanity, such that they may live as God intended. Now, if I would want now these members in the community to become members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, if you want them to become Catholics, you need to find them in the way that can enable them to listen. I have a book at home which is called The Psychology of Witnessing, written by Mary's. But in it, he says that a person is not responsible to listen to what you are saying if you don't care to know what that person is going through. So it is important for us as faith-based organizations to work with the community, to be able to identify the needs of the community together and address them together. And therefore, in a number of projects that we are doing, like we have one which is called CSIP, which is supported by, especially in the regions of Kasese, which is Community Support Initiative Program. In this program, Adra is working with the different religious leaders, to have campaign against gender-based violence, to promote human rights, education campaigns for social protection, then campaign against early marriage. These evils in the society affect not all of us, whether you're a Muslim, you're a Catholic, you're an Adventist. So by working together, we are able to address, and so Adra is empowering the community, as we said, to be able to, but empowering the religious leaders, because the religious leaders have these people. Then we have another project which is called the REAP project, and it is it's called Resilience, Economic, Empowerment and Advocacy Program, which is in the southwestern Uganda, which is in Chegegwa, and also parts of Karamoja. So in this program, we are also working with the interfaith organizations and faith leaders, and the denominations, the Muslims, the Catholics, the Anglican, SDA, Pentecostals, working with them to have campaign against still negative social norms like early marriages, forced marriages, child labor, GBV or gender-based violence, and then having a dialogue for peace. Religious leaders are very critical in this. And then the other one, I just mentioned three of them. The other one we have, it's called Towards Gender Equality for Enjoyment of Women's and Girls' Total Health and Rights. Now, this is in the greater Acholi region, where we have quite a number of districts where the program is intended. So, in order for us to achieve this, still we are working with the faith leaders, to have make them champions to fight against gender-based violence using religious institutions and the promotion of education. Therefore, the faith-based pathway is very, very, as I said in the beginning, is a bedrock in the programs of Adra, because we want to see that faith really helps in having us to mobilize the communities, but also having lasting impact in the communities using the gatekeepers, mainly the religious leaders and their institutions. Thank you so much.
I'm called George William Chiberu. I'm working as the programs manager. Programs manager's role is to coordinate and support all managers at the country level, and I support them in all areas of our operation. And my role is mainly the operation, and in normal setting, I would be the assistant programs director. He's on strategic issues, policies, and other roles of operation, but for me, I'm primarily on operations. And I support managers at different areas of our operations. Yes. I have worked with Adra for now close to 16 years, yes. 16 years I have been working with Adra, but I have been working in different capacities. Yeah, I started working at the field level as a volunteer anyway, yeah. I was volunteering when they were still under doing adult education, and then HIV AIDS, then advocacy, livelihoods. Now I'm supporting from the country office as the programs manager. Yes. Currently we have 11 projects at Adra Uganda. We have 11 projects, and mainly our projects are in northern Uganda. But also we have projects in the Midwest, mainly dealing with the areas where we have refugees. Here is in Rwamwanja and Chaka 2 settlement. We have a project there which is funded by Adra Denmark called RIP, and another project also funded in collaboration with the Novo and Fahu in Western Uganda called Rio, and it is implemented in collaboration with Makerere University. They are doing the element of research. They are researching on how we can scale up irrigation so that we can have sustainable and climate smart production approaches. We are doing research on irrigation. We are doing irrigation on vegetables, mainly we call them horticulture crops, which can have production all year round in order to supplement the income, but at the same time nutrition, but also put in element of how can we do production which is environmental friendly, at the end of the day contributing to having our climate protected or, factored in our production. And then we have elements of saving, because we are looking at how we are scaling out village saving and loan associations, but at the same time we are doing the federation of those VSLAs so that they don't spend and finish all their capital, all their finances at the end of the VSLA cycle. That's why we have come up with a federation whereby we have 7 to 15 VSLAs. They come together, they pool their resources, and that gives them a backup for having a bigger loan portfolio. Then we have a project called the FOR project, which is farming opportunities for Uganda and Rwanda. It is in Western Uganda, also in Chaka, funded by Adra, Slovakia. We call it a center of influence, whereby we have the training. We train trainers of trainers in agronomic practices. We support them with inputs, seeds, and then they scale it down to others. It has been running and it has given us a very good thrust in training the local people how to do better production and how to even take care of their environment in which they operate. Then we have a new project which is called RISE. It is targeting the most vulnerable families with food. And we are using food vouchers, whereby we facilitate them with a voucher and then they are able to buy the food they want. Now, the big chunk of projects now they are in northern part of Uganda, whereby we are looking at Aspire. It is a project in West Nile funded by Norway through NORAD, through Adra Norway. We have a big chunk of livelihood in there. We have block farming, we have scaled down small scale irrigation. We have helped them also to add value on their products like rice. They are threshing it and packing it. We have bonga groups whereby young girls and boys, they come together. They are used for fostering peace. And then we have TVET there. We scale them so that they can have livelihoods off field, because they can do the baking, salons, they have artisanaries like building and welding, also it is part of that. Then we have Passage project, which is in Amuru. It is mainly education, and it is funded by Adra Finland, from the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Finland. It is looking at cultures we want to promote so that they can become permanent. For example, the culture of academic performance development. Then we have the culture of saving and spending. We have the culture of social responsibility, whereby we work with the parents and the schools to see that they come up with the solutions to limiting factors which have limited boys and girls to enroll in primary school, complete primary school, and go to secondary. Those issues are within the mandates of parents, leaders to solve them. This project brings them together, and then they are able to come up with solutions to solve those problems. We have a health project at the same time, livelihood, sexual reproduction health interventions, which is called Together, funded by Adra GAC through Adra Canada. It is also in Acholi region. There we have the core funding, which is funded by SIDA through Adra Sweden. All this has been having a big thrust in livelihoods, education, community mobilization, so that they can address the challenges they have in their area organically, because these solutions, they come from them. Then the REAP project in northern Karamoja, it is mainly looking at livelihood, but also advocacy, whereby we prepare the communities to consume government services. We give them a voice so that they can demand and even check their responsibilities. What is it that they can do so that they can solve the problems or the gaps which are within their communities? Therefore, we find this approach very empowering in the community. We have Strength Project. It is addressing issues from the conflict perspective. What are the dividers? What are the connectors to the communities? You find that natural resources have been a very big issue in sparking up conflict in those areas. Therefore, this project is in Uganda and South Sudan, but we have teamed up with the Reproductive Health Uganda, who are very good to come in with the gender lens to these issues. Therefore, at the end of the day, we are able to address the issues and come up with the solutions which are comprehensive, because we are looking at all dimensions of our implementation. Recently, we have gotten a new funding from FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization. We are looking at production using the improved farmer business approach. We are looking at production, but producing to meet the market. That will empower the farmers, the farmer groups, to have food, but at the same time have the income. That one, it is implemented in Kabong, Karenga regions of northern Karamoja. Joining Adra, I was from the world of academia. I was in education system, but Adra had a project which was called Poverty Eradication. It was in Luwero district and Wakiso district, but also focusing on fishing communities. They had a project which was educating or targeting adults to learn how to read and write so that they can improve their health. And therefore, this project had the element of education, livelihood, and health, mainly addressing issues of HIV, AIDS, and tuberculosis, then malaria. I was inspired when I interacted with them as a volunteer, because I was in academia, but volunteering in this community work. I realized that we had people who had issues, health issues, but because they lacked information. Lack of information affected their health-seeking behaviors. That one challenged me a lot, because I could not understand that an adult lacks information on issues which are affecting them on day to day. Therefore, being a person who was in education, I found it a very fertile ground for me to interact. When I interacted with them, and then I started moving with them in the communities, sensitization, teaching, instructions, I found the work of Adra more practical and really rewarding on a weekly basis. Because in the world of academia, it can be a semester, it can be a week where you do assessment. But this was instant. And that one inspired me. I have never looked back since I have been in this industry for now 16 years, but changing roles and making myself better, going back for education on different areas until now. And currently, I look at when we work with refugees, it is one area where you will find a lot of satisfaction, because you will find people who have left their areas and they are looking for safer areas to survive. When you interact with them, you will find that you meet their immediate needs and you give them hope, and that is quite rewarding.
Ito tubi para ko de ke tumene wana kai barani ni teminget ari ngi tunga kwarata kamala ya dawin ngola yar kana chumu yar agum ne.
The pastoralist mode of production has been more coercive. It had been more conflicting. Their mode of production meant going to raid from the other person. When you don't have, you go and raid from the other, which consequently would mean killing your opponent in order to rob his what? His property. And at the same time, you also expect counter-attack.
Blood strife and revenge are the attributes which took root in the culture of Karamojong. Northeastern part of Uganda is continually rocked by constant cattle raids between tribes and clans, which is creating serious insecurity. It threatens the survival of the families, and the losses in human lives are countless. The whole territory is in a great need of peacemaking and the opportunity to live without constant fear of death and injury. In 1999, the government of Uganda decided to initiate one uninhabited part of Napak district in Karamoja, where the conditions of life and policies could enable people to live more secure and sustainable lives. Although the main socio-economical activity for Karamojong community is nomadic pastoralism, the local government passed a resolution declaring Nakayot as a cattle-free area in order to prevent cattle raiding activities, intertribal conflicts, indiscriminate killings, rape, and other defilement acted out by the warriors. People who were displaced by armed conflicts, widows and orphans, started to move to the resettlement camps around Mount Napak. Over 60% of nearly 5,000 people living in Nakayot resettlement camp are children and women. They were promised possibilities where they could, by hard agricultural labor, provide the food for their families and build a more secure future. In January 2010, Adra Uganda secured a grant from the Royal Danish Embassy in Uganda and collaborated with the district local government to implement a 2-year project which would create possibilities for sustainable agriculture and water supply. There was a need of a constant water supply for irrigation of the plantations and clean drinking water for personal use. Only 5 kilometers from the resettlement camp in Nakayot, Adra started to create conditions which would make agriculture and resettlement possible. The best solution for water irrigation was to construct a valley dam, which would collect water flowing from the surrounding mountains. Around the dam, the land has been given by the local government, and the people were given the opportunity to grow their crops watered by flood irrigation. Besides the access to water for irrigation, the community needed clean water from boreholes. Because of the lack of clean water, people were forced to drink the water from local water ponds. Adra Uganda installed one solar well and are about to install a second one, distributed to the new settlement at 3 different tapping points. With a clean water supply, the health of the community is more stable, and it also attracts others to join the peacemaking area. To make the community more sustainable, there was a need to create an agricultural resource center where people could develop new skills in agriculture and gain needful knowledge to grow a variety of food needed for basic human consumption. The project supported and empowered beneficiaries to form a community-based organization known as Nakayot Farmers Cooperative Initiative.
This is an organization which started last year in January, and by June 22nd it was registered as a community-based organization to operate in Napak district. Its main objective is to transform the livelihood of the Karamojong who have been originally pastoralists to get a living, through agriculture.
Currently, they assist in mobilizing and sensitizing the community to engage in sustainable livelihood activities such as farming and in the maintenance of established water facilities. Adra has supported the Nakayot communities through provision of appropriate agricultural skills such as planting in rows, crop rotation, disease control, seed selection, and post-harvest handling techniques. To improve household food production, Adra has helped people by providing high-yielding and drought-resistant seeds of sorghum, beans, sunflowers, maize, and cassava cuttings. Besides vegetables, Adra also promoted growing fruits, such as pineapples, oranges, mangoes, and guavas. Attracted by the possibilities of this new peacemaking area, more and more people started to move to the new resettlement camp called Kakuma. Here are some of their stories. Luis Lopedol was encouraged to move with his family to the new resettlement camp. Violent events that he has witnessed are still fresh in his memory.
Tobuganga lo chawainin eriko torok to tiaka dinga tongane ni to bongo dinga tome lo tome kedrangi pian lo pian na bela tu ba aneni pei to nyawuna tana bongo bakora to nyawutu bakora gi to rutune ne to likidina ba wuyanga maleni ko alo la kale kechuma yetungane ni kirkali ngetungana perito na kware to the china kwa pajik to the china kwa so amuna unra kwa arawro abukono rekitunga kot anala patu yanu ke kala wa kujuda nga kronguna ke kala utama ena kona abukono reta nga kotokana amam nga peru ya da ina kintari nga gipi nguna nyamata idio borengini taite to the china kwa paje kitara uni borengini ini anyamata ngetunga tari ngulu arangi mongo alo keto angana mam karaku to jongo to nguda arawono.
Cattle rustling involves raids between tribes, but after some time the raiding even started to spread between clans within the tribes. Luis was a couple of times displaced from one area to another, searching for a place of refuge where he could settle in peace. Besides the local insecurity, strong droughts killed all the crops his family planted, and he was forced to find a solution for a more sustainable future.
Aneni tarawna ya tamari iko kiriyo to waluai ile munyo to waluai ai mono iriya elu nyatari ngi to walu ni pian kangi bakara kangi madini ko ha elu nyatari eponete akera ngi to wa elu te bakara dang akera ngi pian elu te ngi pian adang akera ngi bakara epote ngi madini ko dang akera ngi bakara tamara nai apana iriya muriya mana kayot apone nai pone na kayot.
By moving to Nakayot, he is hoping to give his family some security and to be able to sustain them through agriculture. Luis is a member of the farmer group, and he is very grateful for the help he received from Adra through donation of seeds, cassava plants, clean water supplies, and agricultural tools. Some people have deep emotional scars as a result of the cattle wars. Veronica Iryama is one of them.
Yawa chuma danginati hazala. Tadupak. Amata no mo go dang. Apo mo. Kita icha. Hazala dangin tadupak.
Upon hearing of the opportunities of the new peacemaking program, she with her 2 children decided to move in hopes of finding security and being able to fend for themselves.
Kijulakin akwa paloto me jik akwa pakin dada kijulakin. Tada uni akuru. Tada uni berdada. Biare modang. Ana ito kana ani abuni akizile tamaru apana ya akizile ma ya winta za akizile lo akboikinde. Mamna ito kana wache ni ara na botoloto. Ma dik boikine teilalo.
Another life which was traumatized by the cattle raids was the life of Alice Ochiang. She lost her 5 children in a gun clash, and the memories of the horrible events are still echoing in her mind. She hopes to secure a better future by joining the resettlement program. She believes that in the new area she will find comfort and relief from the uncertainty she's been living with in the past. By joining the farmers group, she learned new skills in growing crops, and the given possibilities of an abundant water supply are making agriculture possible for her. The program also attracted 3 friends with their families. In the past, Apollo, Michael, and Sunday were suffering severely with the problems of drought and hunger. So they in turn raided other gardens and stole cattle. In time, they started to question the sustainability of their actions. By taking the cattle from others, they regularly received counterattacks, where their own lives and the lives of their families were threatened. In fear of continuing with the raidings, they decided to search for possibilities where they could solve their problem of food insecurity in a way which would not involve stealing from others. By hearing about the new possibilities of the peacemaking area, they decided to give their lives a new beginning. They have all joined the farmers group and have learned new skills of growing crops in the given area. Apollo has 7 children, Michael has 8, and Sunday 11. They all believe that in Nakayot, they will be giving their children the opportunities to find refuge from poverty, hunger, and insecurity. Besides the mentioned individuals, there are many others who are searching for a refuge from hunger and insecurity, and more people are deciding to join the peacemaking program. The area is still in great need for educational and health institutions. Besides security in the region, parents are aware that the future of their children is highly depending on their education and health. The closest school and health unit is nearly 30 kilometers away from the resettlement camps, and in that regards the area is still marginalized. The problems of drought and hunger led the Karamojong to search for solutions in destructive actions towards each other. Many perished, and many families have had the heartbreaking experience of losing family members, friends, and possessions. The way of finding a solution is to offer better alternatives. By learning and accepting new ways, and by a continual effort towards peace and reconciliation, the Karamojong are giving themselves the opportunity for a much brighter future. Adra changes the world, one life at a time.
pana Iegeli biwa bunyi Kitipi karamoja Dadang bangina sonya wayo Mana kwa pana Iegeli biyezu Iki mingiga tunga Dadang bangina sonya wayo Atalo yubo peta krama koke Guju baba na guju baba
Environmental degradation remains a problem with continued reclaiming of wetlands and forests by man. In Ajuman district, charcoal burning is becoming one of the lucrative activities mainly by refugees from South Sudan. Though the action seems to be beneficial, the impact on the environment is likely to be a future threat. At Ihiro, one of the latest camps, the traditional revered shea nut tree has become an endangered species.
This is a shea nut tree. The fruits from this tree make oil which people use. They use it in their homes, so it is an important tree. But when they gave this place for a settlement, I thought it would be nice to guide the people who are going to settle here on how to live with those trees.
Together with the agencies, the Office of the Prime Minister is setting up interventions to address the environmental situation.
We have agencies like Adra, Oxfam, Accord, Caritas, which are involved in ensuring the protection of the environment.
Organizations are undertaking interventions like marking specific trees that are endangered and providing seedlings to replace those destroyed.
Currently, every tree we have put on a mark with blue. That means you are not allowed to cut it in any way. So if you want to do anything in that place, you must get written authority from the camp management. So any other tree we have not marked, it means you can use it if it is in a place where you want to use.
The United Nations High Commission for Refugees office at Pakele in Ajuman district is also set to introduce alternative means of fuel other than using of wood for cooking.
So we are also planning to procure some of those machines for Ajumani, and we are also planning to train them with those bricklaying things, so that they can construct their house with those bricks, and they need not go to the forest to cut trees.
Although interventions are up, a lot needs to be done, especially in the areas of sensitization and provision of fuel and building materials for them. The current inhabitants of this place need firewood for cooking. They need poles and grass for putting up shelter. But if these facilities are not provided to them, they'll have no choice but to depend on nature, thereby destroying the environment. Fredericks Idia, UBC News.
I work with Adra, Uganda. Yeah, we are trying to assess the situation of refugees from Southern Sudan. So, madam, what is your name?
Grace.
Your name is Grace?
Yeah.
Yeah, when did she arrive here?
She came the day before yesterday.
Oh, she came that day before yesterday. Yes. Did you come alone or you came with your children and family? Oh, these are the children. You came with these children. You came with how many children?
3 children.
She came with 3 children. Okay. What are the major challenges now here at the reception center?
Yeah, because I'm actually going to do the that in the biscuits.
Yeah, so since you came here the last 2 days, you haven't been getting food, so you're feeding on biscuits. Okay, sorry. Any other challenge which you have encountered?
And the rain for her, she's also sick. She's someone with treatment.
Okay, the problem of medical supplies. The children are sick. And herself is she's sick. She's on treatment. Oh, okay, thank you. So thank you. She's HIV?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So when did they arrive here? So they came yesterday. Did she come with her parents or she's alone?
They came with the parents.
Oh, how many are you in the family?
There are 5 in the family.
So there are 5. Yeah. What about this one? How many are you in the family? 8. So you came with your dad and mom? Or you came alone?
They came with the mother.
She came with the mother.
Said is from Mali, that side of Sudan.
Yes.
They walk up to Limule. Then from Limule, they continue to reception.
So Limule town is the border separating Uganda and the Sudan. Do you go to school? Do you go to school? Which class? P5. Is this your mom?
"20-year-old Henry Waswa from Bagijulula village in Chiboga district is proving to all that there is ability in disability. Confined on his wheelchair, Waswa displays his ability by attending to his carrot and cabbage nursery beds at Luweza Vocational Rehabilitation Center, where he is being trained to acquire agricultural skills, particularly in backyard gardening. He and fellow youth with disabilities are benefiting from an initiative supported by Food Resource Bank, an international organization based in Sweden.
And many of them who have learned this are doing very well outside. I remember one said that at least she doesn't have legs, but she doesn't want to sit by the road asking for arms from the people passing by. So when we train them here, they can go out and do very honest work for their own, where they earn a living without having to beg.
Another organization, Abado Kapoide, also from Sweden, is in the process of lobbying for funds to assist vulnerable youth in the selected centers.
To help fundraise for this project as well, and to show that even if you cannot move an arm or a leg, you can do so much anyway with your body and with your mind, and to show that there's really no limits, even if you're disabled.
Luweza Vocational Rehabilitation Center under the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development has trained a number of people with disabilities since it was established in the 1950s.
Many disabled people have passed through this institution and they have benefited from the skills we train them. And we make some follow-ups, see that at least where they move, we see the impact of the training.
The program is being supervised by Adventist Development Relief Agency, Adra, with support of the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development. Fredericks Idia, UBC News.